Oh, hey, lovely ladies. Welcome to day 3. I'm going to just write a little blurb saying, come join us. Alrighty, and this is just gonna give people a minute to pop on. I have my little helper with me today. Say hi, Owen. He's playing some guitar in the background. And I normally try to do like these particular Facebook Lives when he's napping. And that just didn't work out today because I had to go to the tire shop because I had to get some quotes for my tire. If you missed what happened last week, I had like as part of my I've been drastically, massively up leveling, and one of the things that can happen is you can create all these manifestations of your old life trying to die out, right? So what happens is, what happened for me was I had 2 things with a car, 2 things with a jet planes. This is how powerful I am. Where on a Saturday a week ago, my apparently I can't type and talk at the same time. Where my tire blew out of my car, so I've been driving around on a donut tire. And I had to go get a quote for that. And then Owen fell asleep in the car. So we're a little off schedule today, but it's all good. Thursdays and Fridays tend to be my lighter client days. So it is all good. So I'm just sending a quick email out to everybody right now. And then we're going to go ahead and get started. And hello, thank you for popping on. So go ahead and say hey when you do pop on so I know who's here. And we will get started. I'm super excited for today. And we are going to work on healing your leaks now. So we've done a lot the last couple of days. I've seen some great breakthroughs coming up from people doing the replays. So I'm just really, really touched and honored that you've done them and you've made such huge headway. And someone had a really good question earlier. She was like, well, how does this heal them by writing them down? And honestly, becoming aware of what's going on is a huge step, because how can you heal if you don't know what's really going on underneath there, right? Okay, I'm almost done. So the first part, as I said, is becoming aware. Awareness is key for everything, really, right? And as you shed light on it, that already starts to disempower it. Because you look at some of these beliefs and you're like, holy shit, I'm still holding on to you from 20 years ago? This is ridiculous. It's time to let it go. And that disempowers it significantly. Same with, okay, I'm finally done doing this. I can press send, and there we go. Okay. There's so many little steps in that. Send. Okay. So by shining a light on it, you see how ridiculous some of the stuff is that we see or that we're holding on to. So what we did yesterday was we identified what we're gaining from it. And ultimately, a lot of it is stuff that we're holding on to these things to protect ourselves from something else, right? So, you know, on a conscious level, there's no way you're gonna, you know, logically think, well, I don't gain anything from holding on to anger, or I don't gain anything from holding on to resentment. I don't get anything from holding on to pain. What are you talking about, Lindsay? You're crazy. And no, like, you do gain something from it, because you wouldn't be holding on to it if you weren't gaining something from it. It might be something ridiculous and you're like, well, I'm in pain. Why on earth would I hold on to it? But there's these subconscious stories. And so when you just use your logical brain and think about it, it's like almost impossible to come up with it. If you've been doing this work for a while, like me, I now, if someone asks me a prompt, a question, I can like kind of think through it and let the stuff come up to surface. But I've been doing this work for a really long time, so it happens really, really quickly for me. You'll get there the more consistent you are. But right now, what's going on is your ego is like, I don't gain anything from this. You've got to be crazy. And, you know, you need to step out of your way. That is you being in your own way. When your ego and when you're like, you have that response, right? Or like, I don't gain anything from being in pain. I don't gain anything from being small. I put a prompt on there yesterday. I think it was yesterday, where I was like, what are you gaining from being small, or something along those lines. Nobody responded to it, but likely you were thinking, if you did see it and you didn't respond to it, it's because you're like, you're fucking crazy. Why would you ever even ask that? But seriously, I ask this to every single person that I coach on every single discovery call. If you haven't done a discovery call with me, I do a lot of coaching on the discovery calls. And I do, you know, the people that have the biggest breakthroughs are the ones that are willing to recognize that they are gaining something from it. So if you have done a discovery call with me, you'll have seen that. I do ask you these questions. And the ones that have the oh shit moments, I can't believe I'm doing that, are the ones that are really willing to recognize that they are getting in their own way, right? They're willing to look beyond what the ego is showing. You know, the ego's like, I don't gain shit from holding on to this. But the people that are willing to like go beneath that and not listen to their ego, they're the ones that have the massive breakthroughs right away on the discovery calls, like the free calls that I give to people. So, you know, so when you're looking at all the stuff that we're doing, you know, really, this is why I have you use your journal, because consciously you're going to be like, I don't gain anything from this. I'm not holding on to resentment. I don't gain anything from holding on to resentment. There's no benefits from being mad at myself. Whatever. That's because your ego is still like really strong and prevalent. So we need to dig deeper. And I mean, I journal all the time myself, but you know, there was someone on live yesterday and she actually did say that, and I was like, well, that sounds like logical thinking. Are you actually using your journal? And she wasn't using her journal at the time. She was just thinking and using the prompts that I gave her. So you know, so just really allow yourself to get out of your own way. Also, I mean, honestly, is what it is, and allow yourself to listen to something other than your ego. Your ego is typically this voice that's like really loud and says, oh, you can't do that, or you know, if you think about this, if you think about maybe you want to make $20,000 in a week, your ego is that really harsh voice that is saying there is no way in hell you're going to be able to make $20,000 in a week, for example. And the bigger the thing is that you're thinking about, the louder your ego is going to be. So that's why I'll do things, you know, I'll say things like $20,000 in a week, triggering things, or $100,000 a week or a month or a day. Like, that's super triggering to me, right? I've been doing this work for a long time. I still have this stuff. So it all happens. It happens to every one of us, but it's this work that's going to really start to heal this and move us forward, right? So, okay, so grab your pens, grab your journals. So I know some of you were doing the replays earlier today. I don't know if you've done both day 1 and day 2. Every day we're layering on. If you haven't done them, that's okay. You can still go back. Hey, Samantha, welcome. Yes, perfect timing. I'm really just starting to dig in. I was talking a little bit just in the beginning about like the ego and the people who have the biggest breakthroughs, who are the ones that are willing to accept and willing to accept that their ego is speaking out. I've got a toddler playing in the background too. If you hear any background music, that's what that is. Okay, so if you haven't done day 1 and day 2, that's okay. You can still get benefit from this today, but I would highly recommend going back and doing them if you haven't, because it's just going to be so powerful. I was getting some awesome comments from some of the replay viewers earlier today about some of the breakthroughs they were having. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to work on doing some compassion and holding compassion around the incidences that we've been holding on to, the emotions we've been holding on to, and to the people we've been holding these emotions towards. So first of all, so we started with really talking about why we're mad at ourselves. So do you go back to your list? Sorry, I was saying earlier he napped while I had to go get quotes for my tire replacement because of this tire incident I had last week. So we have an awake playing toddler with us today. Okay, so why are you mad at yourself? Go back, look at the list. What are you holding on to? And look at what you're gaining from there as well. Hi, buddy. I know, totally. Are you gonna play some drums for us? Okay. So, yeah, yesterday we kind of like stacked things up all together, right? If there was a recurring theme for things that you're mad at yourself for being judgmental of yourself, or because maybe you let certain people in your life. Can you guys hear me okay? And, because of being frustrated at things. So what I want you to do is I want you to write some compassion for yourself. So how we're going to do this is I'm going to have you write what happened in your life that you allowed these incidences to take place. Right? So what happened in your life that, maybe you let other people walk all over you? What happened in your life where you let other people take advantage of you? And you might not think that you let people take advantage of you, but let's just go with that, because I'm a firm believer, and I've been taken advantage of, that, we manifest things in our life, and this is not saying that like I condone anyone taking advantage of it at all, but we become an energetic match for that. So what happened? This is your prompt. In your life we'll say that allowed you to be walked over or taken advantage of. So I will type this up, but go ahead and spend a couple minutes journaling on that. I'm going to do this from my computer because that'll be easier. So what happened? Alrighty. Okay. This could be taken advantage of emotionally, financially, spiritually, physically. Okay. Perfect. ahead and wrap that up for just a moment. So anybody feel like they want to share exposing this? I mean, not pressuring you to share. I'm going to share this, but exposing this even more, like by posting on here, disempowers it. So you becoming aware of what's going on disempowers these beliefs and starts to heal them. Also sharing them disempowers it even more. So I'll share with you what happened in my life that allowed me to be walked over and allowed me to be taken advantage of. Was I felt unseen and unloved, and people wanting things from me made me feel worthy of attention and love. Ultimately, I learned to not love myself and filled that void with drama, which led to attention, which led to feeling that I was loved. So, pretty insightful. These have been some really amazing journaling prompts, I have to say. Okay. Anybody want to share? Say, go ahead. There's a few more people popping on. Go ahead and say hello. Okay, so we are going to move on to, he's gonna write on my computer and hopefully not spill my water. Okay. So we're gonna move on to resentment. And so this next prompt is going to be, sorry, I just got a message there. So this next prompt is going to be, what happened, thanks buddy, in my life that led me to, this is going to be triggering for some of you, to want to be resentful. Remember, consciously, there's no way anybody would say, oh, I don't want to actually be resentful, you're crazy, but subconsciously there's stuff that you gain. We talked about this yesterday, right? So now we're finding out ultimately what happened in our life and working to find compassion for that. So, and we'll go a little deeper from this here. I'm going to type this prompt in here. There you go. Alrighty, so for those of you just joining, we've just started our second prompt. What happened in my life that led me to want to be resentful? Again, on a conscious level, nobody wants to be resentful. At least I don't think so. But subconsciously there's stuff going on. So we're working on this, we're adjusting this so we can find compassion and really truly heal. Alrighty, go ahead and take another moment. I will share with you, this is just also insightful. So what happened in my life that led me to want to be resentful? I wasn't acknowledged or seen. So getting angry got me attention, and then holding on to anger, which turned into resentment, allowed me to feel deserving. It allowed me to feel entitled. Wow. Anybody want to share? I'd love to hear what you come up with there. And really a lot of this work, this is really inner child healing too. Very inner child healing. Okay, so our next prompt, is everybody ready? What happened in my life that made me want to be judgmental? So I'll type that in here. Oh, Jody, I didn't see your comment here. Okay, mad or resentful is easier than hurt or rejected. So what happened, Jody, in your life that made you want to feel mad or resentful? Were you hurt or rejected as a child, and then you turned that into being mad or resentful? Where am I? I know there's a lag on here. I don't know if you want to answer that, Jody, but I want to make sure you get as much healing and insight on that while we are here. So, okay. So we'll give each other, I'll give you guys a few minutes to write about what happened in your life that made you want to be judgmental, or even made you feel worthy of being judgmental. That could be another way to put it. Okay, go ahead and wrap that up. This is honestly, some of this stuff is really insightful for me. So things I haven't tapped on before. Jody says this probably came up in childhood too, but more as a young adult. Yeah. So being hurt or rejected as a young adult. Okay, and that's just such an awkward time for everybody. So, and for me, what happened in my life that made me want to be judgmental? Being me, being myself, I got laughed at. I was made fun of. Being me wasn't enough. The people who made fun of me got a lot of attention and they gained popularity. So by becoming judgmental myself, I thought I would be more popular. I've never uncovered that before. My nose is really itchy today. So, you know, and those, like, the being laughed at for me, like, my earliest memory was in 4th grade when this boy, Peter Lou, asked me to be his girlfriend in front of everybody. And I felt so bad. There was a table full of guys, and they all laughed, and I told them I would tell them at recess. And then I completely forgot to tell them I went and played at recess. And then everyone asked when we got back, and they asked if I was his girlfriend, and I completely forgot. I felt so bad. But when he asked me to be his girlfriend, and they all laughed, like, that was really embarrassing to me. And then in 5th grade, I was a total tomboy growing up, and I think it was picture day, and I, like, dressed up. I had this plaid, what do you call that, pleated skirt, and I had white tights, and I had these, like, underwear with, like, starburst, like, bright, like, starbursts on it. And I was all super dressed up, super girly. I was never dressed girly. And apparently I had tucked my skirt in to my tights, so my underwear was showing on the back. And I kind of sat in the back of the room, of the classroom, and this person, I don't even remember who it was, said, "Hey, I have something to tell you," and he pointed to me to go up to the front of the room so he could tell me this. And then he told me that my underwear was showing. So then he had me go up to the front of the class. So now the entire class saw my underwear showing from the one day that I decided to, like, be feminine and be girly and dress up. That's going to be a whole nother thing that I'm going to work on as well too, right? Because I talk a lot about being feminine. What does being feminine mean? For me, it means getting laughed at. So that's really interesting. I just put that together as I was sharing that. So those are my 2 earliest memories. And before that, I was, like, friends with everybody, and then that was right around the time that clique started. And then I found myself, like, the more I got laughed at, then, you know, I was just, like, pushed aside, right? And the people that laughed at me, or that, you know, there was a guy that had me go up in front of the class, and he, like, became one of the most, like, popular kids, right? So that was really interesting there. And then in junior high and high school, I became a lot more judgmental, and I became just really, like, bitchy, and I would push people away from me. So very interesting. And I also, like, my self-esteem plummeted too. So very fascinating stuff here. So you guys see, every time I do this type of stuff, I uncover things myself too. Like, this work is ongoing, and the more you continue to up level, and the more you continue to reach for your dreams, like, you're just gonna, this stuff always needs to be worked on, right? So, and things will come up for you differently. Like, you might feel really, really emotional as you first start doing this. Whereas, like, now for me, where I'm at, a lot of physical things are happening, right? I had, like, 2 crazy car things. I stopped a jet plane twice last week. I got the biggest cold sore ever in my life. Hi, buddy. Oh, I'm gonna read your book. Last week, and or excuse me, just the other day when I had my big news interview come out, and then they asked me to come back and do the news. Do a live Q&A, and a, like, huge giant cold sore, whatever, I'm still showing up. So all these physical things, whereas the emotions, I'm not an emotional mess like I was when I was doing this work before. I've come up, and now it's physical things that are happening. So you know, they show up in very different ways. So okay, so we've uncovered some of these here, and I want to do one more, and then we're going to go deeper into the inner child healing, because ultimately that's what we're really doing right here. Okay, there we go. So these are kind of similar, but they're slightly different. So what happened in your life that made you so angry? So Jody, I think this will be a good one for you too. These will kind of piggyback off of each other for you. So what happened? I'll try to type this up. I'm nursing a little bit right now. So. What happened in my life that made me so angry? Okay, you guys work on that. I'm going to one-hand type this on my computer. Oops. There you go. Okay. So go for another moment. Alright, let's just do another minute. Alrighty. How's everybody doing there? I'm coming up with some things. So for me, what happened in my life that made me so angry as a young person? I was third wheel, which is interesting that I said that because I'm actually the third of 4 children born. But, and even as I was older for a long time, right, it was like my friends would have couples and I would be like the tag along. Or, you know, in a lot of ways I was like the third leg. Or I would hang out with some girlfriends and they would always be closer than I would be with anybody. So I was third wheel always. Never had attention, never felt good enough, was always left behind and picked on. Being angry was my way to get back at the world. I also like never thought that I needed to like get back at the world. Like this is all very, very insightful. So what we've done now is we've really like uncovered a lot of like core feelings that you were feeling as a young woman, as a young child, and as a young adult, as Jody said too. So what we're going to do now is write a compassion letter to your young self. So, dear self. And as you now see this as an adult, oh, Jody says, how mean my sisters could be when I was a little kid. Everything, how I talked or walked was always wrong. I would need to get over the top angry to stop them from tearing you down. Yeah. So how does that make you feel about if you are the adult you are now and you were to see this young girl experiencing this? How does that make you feel for that young girl? And everybody that's on here. You know, how does this make you feel seeing these hurts, these pains happen? If you were witnessing this to someone, to a young child right now, how would that make you feel for that child? We'll read this in just a minute. You're so good. He's got his favorite book here. Wants me to read it. So, I don't know if anyone's going to answer that on here, but I'm guessing you're going to feel compassion for that little girl, right? If you see someone that is like being bullied or feeling really laughed out, doesn't your heart just break? You know, you just want to go like wrap that little child in a huge warm hug and let them know that they're loved and that they matter. That's how I feel. Jody says, definitely like defending her, stopping it, and letting her know that tearing people down is not acceptable. How does it make you feel for what's happened to her that's made her feel like that? How does it make you feel for her, you know, that these things have happened to her? So here she's hurt. So you want to defend her and then but also tell her that tearing people down is not acceptable. Do you also want to like punish her? Oh, it is painful. Yeah. So that's what I was wanting you to get at, right? Like that pain point, and then being able to feel, you know, because now you can feel that pain for her, and now you can feel that compassion for her, right? So, and that's what happened. Like, you know, a lot of times as parents, they'll be like, well, you can't behave that way. I understand that you're upset, but that doesn't really, you know, like get the child to feel like what they're feeling matters, right? And ultimately, yeah, so you're saying what she needs to know that she doesn't have to take that behavior from others. Absolutely, absolutely. So she can learn a new story. So, and then, you know, teaching her that as well. So what I want you to do now is write a letter to this child and, you know, feel into that pain and find that compassion for her. And whatever you feel you need to say to her, say this to her in this letter. Play with this? I'll trade you. I lost my pen in the moment because I'm trying to keep toddler quiet. Hi, Layla. How are you, gorgeous? So I'm gonna write this one with a colored pencil. This way, there's 3 items to write with, and he can have 2 in his hand. Okay, so Layla, we've just uncovered some really deep pains. That's okay, I'm glad you're here. The core root causes of where a lot of our you know, pain, of where our need to judge, of our need to like hold on to anger and resentment lies from. And we're writing a letter to our, essentially our inner child, our young self. We're writing a compassion letter to her. And I have a toddler on my lap while I'm trying to do this because he napped when I went to the Tiger Center, so now he's awake. Okay. So let's just take a couple more minutes. ahead and wrap that up. And you can always come back. I'm probably going to come back and, what's the word? Go a little deeper on this. I have a toddler trying to journal at the same time as well. So this is really important work, guys. It's really important for ultimately getting to where you want to be, because these energy leaks, like these pains, these wounds that you're holding on to, they're preventing you from getting to wherever you want to be. Maybe it's these can be preventing you from being able to get pregnant. These can be holding you back from really achieving the next level of success that you want to make, because ultimately, you know, if you're worried on a subconscious level, if you were like made fun of as a child, or if people that you looked up to, your big sisters, always, you know, dragged you down, then what's going to happen when you get to the next level and you have all this other visibility, right? So these are the things that are really holding you back. So healing your leaks like this is so incredibly important. And then the next step is to really nurture your divine feminine, and to really nurture that inner child so that she can really grow and flourish. And that's what Sacred Manifestations is all about. So that program actually starts on Monday. It's incredibly powerful, incredibly transformative, and these are all the steps that I've taken to go from, you know, making my first 5K in May, when I really started my business in February, and then tripling that in July, and then, you know, saying one day that I needed to be on the news, and then 18 hours later having a reporter reach out to me. These are the things that I've done to rapidly, you know, manifest. And the things that I've done in February, I had $0 to my name, and I said I wanted to move to Hawaii, and I'm going there in 6 weeks to go find a house. So this stuff happens. It works incredibly quickly if you do the work. So Sacred Manifestation starts next week, and there's some freaking awesome, actually, I just got a new bonus that I haven't even been able to put on the website yet for it, for sacred activations, which is incredible. It's going to like just really amplify your manifesting powers. So I'm super excited for that. And there's a new payment plan for $222. So if you're wondering if that's for you, feel free to send me a PM and let's talk about that, because I want to make sure that you can get in on it if it's right for you. And I'm just so excited. It's a freaking awesome program. So this is all some of the first stuff to like really get you there, the first steps. And it's so incredibly important to get these done before, you know, you're able to really unleash your creative power, because if these are not taken care of, they're still going to just be suppressing your creative abilities and your creative ability to create the life of your dreams. So, alrighty. So, I'll go ahead and read my letter, what I've got so far on it. Because as you can see, I've got a little helper. Hi, Owen. And so I wrote, Dear Self, and really ultimately, you know, it's really seeing and acknowledging all of this that's going on is what's so important, and seeing how hurt you are. It's okay to acknowledge that you're hurt. You know, we're taught a lot of times to just really suppress that, and that's what a lot of this work is to do, is to acknowledge it so we can release it. So I wrote, Dear Self, I see that you are hurt and feel left out. I want you to know how special you are to me, how much I love you, and how much I honor and value you. You shine so bright, my heart melts at seeing you so hurt. I see you, I acknowledge you, and I love you so much. You are safe, you are loved, you are enough. And I am going to go deeper on that today, later on today. Hi, sweet love, as I've got this child right here. So I'd love to hear, you know, you, so the reason we did these exercises before writing this letter And if you came on right as we were writing the letter, you know, brilliant, but I definitely recommend going back because we need to get to that point where we understand what's going on so we can genuinely feel this compassion for our inner selves, our inner child, and for what's going on. Because healing results from feeling. That's good. I've never said that before. Healing results from feeling. Oh my God, that's so good. I'm writing that down, otherwise I'm going to forget it. Or healing, yes, comes from feeling. And, you know, in manifesting, in the law of attraction, like when we're, you know, working with the universe, emotion is the language of the universe, right? So that's where healing comes from feeling. God, that's good. That's really good. I love when I just let everything work through me. So to truly heal these leaks, you've got to feel into them and then find that compassion, right? Love and compassion is what heals hate, or excuse me, you know, anger. Maybe it's hate that just came out. Fear, right? Those are all healed by love, but just superficially feeling it isn't enough. You've got to get down to the deep roots to like genuinely feel that. Does that make sense? So, does anybody have any questions? Do you like the music going on in the background? If anybody has any questions, feel free to pop them in here. Who wants a card read? I've got my fairy cards right here. I'm gonna talk a little louder. For 16 and a half months old, he's pretty good at the guitar, isn't he? Does anybody want a card read? This is my first deck of cards. Oh, wow. Jody says, Megan Shep said almost the same thing to me when she did a energy healing. It's okay to feel. She has to work on a sacral block. I want to make sure I get the whole thing. Yeah. Feeling is everything. Samantha would love a card, please. You got it, Samantha. You've got to feel things. And Jody would like a card too. Okay. I wasn't thinking really clearly, so a card popped up, but I want to make sure I'm thinking of Samantha first. And Nissa. Hi, Nissa. Okay, so this card is for Samantha. Well, Samantha, you got 2 cards pop up for you. Great. Oh, okay. So, the dreamer. So this shows that, like, you know, it's okay to dream. You have everything to dream. Can you hear me okay? He's really a very good guitar player. So, you know, embrace your dreams. Nurture them. Don't suppress them. Allow yourself to dream. I'm going to come closer because I can't believe how loud he's actually playing. And I'm going to scooch over here. And then the other card you got, I'll show it to you in just a minute. We're going to come in the other room. I'm really impressed with how well he can play for 16 months. Okay. So the dreamer, right? Nurture your dreams. It's okay to dream. So you're like at the beginning of the path. Embrace your dreams. No dream is too big. No, it's no longer time to suppress them. And then this shows also it's okay to reach out for help. And help is going to get you to where you want to go. So reach out for help. Don't be afraid of having assistance. And honestly, this is really what's coming to me is that needing help does not mean you're a failure. Nobody has gotten to where they are going without help. So I have help along the way, and asking for help and needing help was one of the hardest lessons for me to learn, but it was also the most important because you've got to have help. You can't do it all yourself. So dream big, nurture your dreams, and ask for help to get you to where you want to go. That was for Samantha. But you know, it's really interesting because I think all of these cards, like, I think they're good for everybody on here. I oftentimes will do card pulls for people, and they're very recurring themes that show up. I know my coach she, you know, says the same thing too. We'll do those, and it's so funny. So we're all very connected. Okay, this card, you're welcome, Samantha, is for Jody. Jody, what do you need to know? Jody. No, not very clear. Come on. I haven't used my fairies for a while. This is my first deck and I love them so much. They're very loved. Okay. Come on, guys, let's get one clear card for Jody, or two if that's what she needs. My goodness. Jody. Jody. I don't think I've ever had to shuffle this long. Jody. Okay, guys, one card. Let's have it. There we go. Okay. Again, very similar. I think that is a lesson everyone in this time will need to learn, to ask for help. So hard to do. Yeah, and guess what this card is? It's okay to reach out for assistance and ask for help. You know, you have so much going on. There's something going on right now. You will get stronger from it. Embrace it. Seek out the lesson. Yeah. LOL is right. That's so funny. But you've got to have help to get you through it. And it's okay. Again, having help is not something to look down upon. Okay? That was absolutely hilarious. Okay, Nissa. This card's for you. Whoops. Nissa. Nissa. What's your last name, Nissa? Nissa Williams. Nissa Williams. Here it is. Let's called it, and there it was. Okay. So you have, this is so funny, this recurring theme. It says right here on the bottom of this card, meeting someone who can help your dreams come true. This is you, like you have this, like you're a queen. You have this lavishness, and maybe you haven't even let yourself fully express it or own it, and really own who you are. You have this incredible ability to make everything so incredibly ornate and just beautiful. Whatever it is you put your heart to, you put your mind to, you're able to do that. But you know, keep an eye out for teachers. Keep an eye out for the teachers that come into your path, and really, you know, embracing the help of someone who can make your dreams come true. That is so funny. All three of you had that message. That's awesome. I totally love it. I totally love it. And like I said, like it's so, you know, there's these recurring themes that come out, and even for, like, I always get a lot from listening to reads that are done for other people, right? I think whoever is present, particularly on like these videos, right? They're recorded. It's like your guides just know, and whoever's on here just knows. Someone else just popped on here. Hello, whoever you are. I'm finishing up, but I am doing some card reads. If you want a card read, say hey. So yeah, those recurring messages are so valuable. So, okay, does anybody have any questions or anything like that before I let you go free for the day? Find that compassion, and you know, getting to that space of compassion, not just once, not just from doing this exercise, but doing it consistently, is going to be really healing and really transformative for you. So, and again, if you want to talk about sacred manifestations, if you want to start to make your dreams a reality, you want to see if this is right for you, PM me. Let's make your dreams a reality. I've been doing it constantly, and I love to see other people do it too. So if that resonates, if it's for you, it's for you, and it'll work out. So yay. Thank you all so much for being here. Mwah. I love you, and go have an awesome Thursday. I'll talk to you soon.